I bet you it didn't take us but a couple of minutes for us to figure out that this pandemic is turning into something that's bigger than most of us probably anticipated. But bigger than that, if there could be something bigger than that, is the lesson that this is getting ready to be about mental health. Everyone's mental health. From the physicians that are having to see these things happen firsthand, to the people that are sheltering in place for now 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 weeks. Mental health is about to be a part of everybody's lives. We'll just all have to make a decision whether or not it's going to be something that we're going to talk about and follow through with, something that we're going to involve ourselves in, or if they're going to continue to be conversations that we're not having, truth that we're not telling, things that we're not doing. I'm sure by now, somebody in the house, if you're sheltering with other people, whether it be your partner, your family, your spouse, somebody has gotten on your nerve. Somebody has said something, done something, implied something even, that has absolutely taken you from 1 to 7.5 and then kind of flipped you to 10 without your knowledge. Somebody has disrespected you, ignored you, insulted you, belittled you, hurt your feelings. Yeah, those things have happened. Most of those things are happening with the people that we know around us. Sometimes those things happen with people that we talk to on the phone. But you've come to know that a piece of your mental health is the button. What button? That button that someone knows that they can push to get you to move emotionally. That button that some people don't know about that gets pushed, that moves you emotionally. That button that some people know exactly where it's at and exactly what to do to get you to moving, to get you to do something, to get you to feel, to get you to react. Yeah, those things are known. That's mental health. You having a button, mental health. And what we're talking about is knowing about that, knowing that the information is there, also knowing why it's done, and knowing what you can do. I call it the button because that's what the conversation has been about. The things you hear like, oh, you need to move that button. You need to move that button. Usually it's somebody telling you to get over it. Move that button. But I'm here to tell you that you do have a button, and definitely a sheltering in place, especially with a group of people, family or not. Somebody's pressing buttons. You might be the one pressing buttons, because guess what? You know where some of those buttons are as well. I think what's important to know is that those things are going to happen, and everything that can happen is things that you can do about it, things that you can make different. One, you can let people know what's happening. Okay, when you say that, when you behave this way, this makes me feel, because you'd be surprised how many people don't know about the button. There's some people that you can absolutely check in the nicest of ways. Listen, you know that moves me to a particular spot, and so I'm going to ask that you not do that. These conversations are going to be needed because guess what? If we're in this space for another month, let's just say, between us having to be in the house, some of us unemployed, some of us without support, some of us literally struggling financially, struggling spiritually, struggling professionally, struggling emotionally. Somebody pressing your butt now can send you to a different place, a place that you've not ever been before. You know, a place where you clearing off tables and you're throwing things and you're punching things in the wall. Those are the things that happen with people who just have to be confined, period. So you can imagine being in this space where we're having to be voluntold what to do with regard to that. These things are going to come up. Your button is yours. You should absolutely be aware of what things can be said and done to move you in different places, and inform people that those things are happening. As best you can, be able to identify the emotion. It makes me feel angry. It makes me feel frustrated. It makes me feel belittled. It makes me feel insulted. It makes me feel depressed. It makes me feel any of those things, because you can't manage anything that you can't call out, that you can't identify, that you're not aware of. Once you've been able to identify it, it's important that you communicate that. That's a part of emotional intelligence, being able to communicate that to whoever did that. I'm hopeful that there are some receptive people in your households, and that it doesn't have to get to a place where people are going crazy. But the biggest thing that I want you to walk away with after these couple of minutes is to know that you have the ability to move that button, right? When someone knows how to push a button, we absolutely have to be responsible for knowing how to move that button. Even if it's just us only taking on half the emotions that come with it, especially if they're adverse emotions. So I want you to know we're getting ready to find out a lot about mental health, a lot about mental health wellness, a lot about personalities, a lot about depression, a lot about all those things that we don't normally just talk about over dinner. And this is absolutely getting ready to be one of them. If you haven't already punched a hole in the wall, if you haven't already called somebody out their name, if you haven't already had to walk outside without a mask because you were so frustrated, just know that it's likely to come, even with the most mild-mannered person. So keep this in mind. Right. When someone knows how to push your buttons, boo, you got to move your button. You got to move your button. I'm Angela Harvey, and move your button.